and then use the thing like you're a submarine pitcher, like a closer.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Over Greggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
So I thought these were mugs for cereal, but they are in fact coffee mugs.
I did see someone earlier eating cereal out of it.
That's not how you do things.
It's huge mug. We need these at the house.
It's a huge
and I'm not
mug,
saying we go buy these. I'm saying we take a shitload of them.
Oh, we just steal?
It's like a Central Perk mug.
Yeah,
this is like a Central Perk mug.
Yeah.
Over there, the Pier 1 Tim Gettys.
I also have a mug. It was a last-minute game decision. I don't know.
A last-minute game decision.
Hey, you know what?
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been streaming since 10 a.m. We're at Patreon. We streamed last night, too. I was going to get to that later, but the jig's blown. We're stealing mugs. We've got a robot behind us. There's a stranger next to me.
It's not a robot.
It's part of a robot, is it not?
Starship.
It is the part of a replica of the Millennium Falcon cockpit, which is slightly robotic.
Thank you.
There's robotics involved.
There's robotics.
The one busting my balls, Colin Moriarty.
Go Islanders.
And then the guy here in the green hat, Jack Conti. How are you, Jack?
I'm so great.
We're in your office right now.
This is true.
This is Patreon HQ. We're here. This episode of the Game Over Greggy show being recorded and broadcasted to people on Twitch right now, who we are ignoring because we're making the YouTube podcast they love so much and everything else. But we're at Patreon for GDC doing our live stream here again. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Do you guys not like us being here? We're very loud, I know. We eat a lot of your food too.
It's a pain in the ass, but you know we deal with it because it's important for the business.
Yeah, exactly. We are the most important creators on Patreon.
Right, that's right. So we suck it up and we let you guys ruin our week.
I'm glad. Thank you very much. That means a lot to
I'm
us.
surprised at the acoustics of this whole thing. When you're out there, we're not that loud, which is surprising.
All of these are sound absorbing panels on the left and the right side. Yeah.
You guys got your shit down.
Well, it's set up to be a studio.
That's good.
Yeah.
You do shows. I've seen you do podcasts and stuff.
Oh yeah, we do a monthly show from this room.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about how long it'll take you to set it back up after Kevin tore it all apart yesterday to put our stuffs in. Hey Kevin, how you doing?
Yeah.
Kevin, go ahead and count us in.
Kevin, why don't you count us in?
Kevin, can we get an in count?
We're in.
That's not counting. That's just saying we're in.
Guys, he's just being efficient. Let's be honest. Why waste the numbers?
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic discussion for your amusement. This table does not take shit.
It's not this table.
We have an IKEA table at home that when you pound on, it like thunders. And this table's like not having that.
No, I like that.
I love that song.
It's a great song.
We're gonna sing that later.
Are we?
Yeah.
What's that even mean?
Because here's what always happens. One of us always says a song.
Yeah.
And then like 3 days later or 2 hours later, sometime I'll hum it and then we start singing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thunderstruck. You've been thunderstruck.
God damn it, AC/DC. Let's get the guy who always wears a little schoolboy uniform on this show, huh? How about that?
I don't know what you're talking about. But
If you like this show, you can go to patreon.com/kindafunny and get it early by tossing us a few bucks, and you'll also get an exclusive episode and a bunch of cool perks. But if you have no money to toss our way, no big deal. Head to youtube.com/kindafunny where we post it topic by topic, day by day, until the entire show posts for free on Fridays. On the YouTubes, on the MP3 services, everywhere. So subscribe wherever you can and rate us. Now, Jack, I know you're a big Game Over Greggy show fan. You listen to it all the time.
Every single one of them.
You've heard.
I've been at all the live chats.
Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Live chats.
Yeah, exactly. Live chats are great for the Game Over Greggy show. Usually we dick around more in the beginning, but we already started dicking around talking about Patreon and everything else. I want to talk about you as topic number 1,
all right,
which is heavily influenced by Patreon,
all right,
and how that all comes together. So for everyone watching or listening, who the fuck are you and why are you here?
Yeah. So my name is Jack Conti. I am half of a band called Pomplamoose. It's a indie rock band with my girlfriend Natalie.
People like that band a lot.
Some people hate that band a lot.
Well, that's just the internet.
Interesting fact. We are kind of a polarizing band. Yeah. Man, there's a topic.
You want to do that one?
Oh boy,
that's a great topic.
Yeah, that's a good one. But no, let's take
the topic this time. We have to talk about you first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the internet hating him's part of it. I don't know anymore.
That's part of it. 2.5, 3, almost 3 years. Wow, 3 years ago. About 3 years ago now. Got sick of getting $200 AdSense checks at the end of every month for millions of views on my YouTube channel. I was like, fuck this. And I called up my freshman year roommate, Sam Yam. I pitched him this idea of like, what if fans are able to contribute $1 for everything that gets released or every month that creators are releasing stuff? He built it out in 3 months by himself. It was an amazing effort. We launched, and within a couple of weeks, it was called Patreon. Within a couple of weeks, my Patreon page was making like $5,000 a month, and I was making a couple music videos a month at the time. And then we got venture capital and raised $2 million and hired some more folks. And then we did another round of venture funding and raised $15 million and hired more people and got this building and started building a company. And then we were 25 people suddenly working on Patreon. And now 3 years later, we've raised in total now like $47 million. We're a little over 50 people, and we're plugging away and trying to make a really impactful, important company that helps people like you guys and like me make a living.
Yeah, that's the thing. You've done it. I say it all the time. Every time I give a panel or I come here and speak about it, like, you guys changed our lives, and we can never thank you enough for that.
God, thanks, man.
Like, at what point in your process did you go like, oh wow, this is becoming a much bigger thing than I thought?
Yeah, I describe it as being like a slow fade in. Like, there was never a moment where I was like, okay, and now Patreon. Like, that didn't happen. It was like this slow fade. Okay, now we're working on this, and now we need to hire these people, and now we need to like do this, and then suddenly I found myself doing less and less, and the team doing more and more. But that just meant I had to do different types of things.
Sure.
And it's kind of just scaled beyond what I certainly expected or imagined, and is far more complex and crazy than I could have ever imagined. But yeah, there was no moment. It was this slow fade in.
Because for us, when we get to hang out with you guys, it's always stark jumps. You know what I mean? Like, it's night and day, where I'll never, I was talking the story of when we went to that VidCon, where on the way down, Tim's like, we should look into this Patreon thing when we get back. I was like, okay. And I came out of that thing and we were signing autographs, and these kids ran up to us like, oh my, Greg Miller, holy shit. And I was talking to them and took a photo with them, and then I looked down, they were wearing Patreon shirts.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, oh, you guys know the Patreon guys? And like, oh no, we are the Patreon. I'm Sam and this, and I'm like, what the fuck? And we're like, you guys know us? You know what I mean? Like, and then we came here and it was like, what, it was the week they moved in, the week after you guys moved in?
You guys just
the walls
got in.
were bare.
You had absolutely nothing, but you had the bare essentials. You had a Wii U set up, and we played Mario Kart 8, and that's really all that matters.
Just the basics, yeah.
But then you jump ahead to, we came back here then last year to do the GDC stream.
Yep.
And it was like, wow, there's so many more people here, and this is crazy. And then this year you come here and there's dozens more people. You've knocked out that wall, and you can go in there now, and there's all these different offices, and Cole isn't sitting over here at the balance beam
anymore. We have an LA office
working.
now.
Do you really? I didn't even know that.
Folks, now we just opened an LA office. Yeah.
Holy crap.
So why? I mean, that's the thing, is like, what do all these people do? So when it was just like you five guys,
that was gonna be my question too. Is you were like,
best question. I love that question, because I has this, like, I look at YouTube and I'm like, there's a fucking 1,000 engineers working at YouTube. What are they doing? Like, what are you guys doing? And it's amazing. It's like, for me, one of the most like impressive and amazing things about like being at this company on the inside is seeing what people do, and like how much expertise and management and maintenance and problem solving and upkeep and effort goes into what some people think is a website. It's like, oh, you have a website, like, so you fix some bugs and what? But like, the ingenuity and genius of product thinking and the engineers and the product folks here, and the level that they go to systematize and productize problems and solutions, it requires hundreds of thousands of man hours and woman hours and thinking and care, and I mean, the amount of work is unfathomable. It's unfathomable, and I didn't ever appreciate it until I saw it from the inside. But I wish I could explain more, but it would literally take me hundreds of hours to explain all of the things that need to be done to keep payments going through every month to you guys.
And so when you hit up Sam that first time, like, hey, I would like to make more than $200.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you didn't think of any of those problems, those hurdles, right?
No, I had no idea. I've been an artist for 10 years. I had no idea like how to run teams, or I'd never had a job before. This is my first job.
Wow. Like your first office ever to come into?
I have never had a job. I have never come into an office. I have never... Yes, this is the
So what, at 13 you just pick up a guitar and you're like, I'm hitting the road, ma?
Yeah. I mean...
No, you did not.
Hang on. No. I went to college.
Oh, okay.
And then when I got out of college, I started a band and we started making money, and that was it.
What'd you go to college for?
Music.
Okay. So I was in line. You're using your degree, all right.
Yeah.
It's not like you want to get one of these biology degrees you never do anything with.
No.
No, who do anything with biology?
Exactly.
Very functional music.
Yeah, exactly. That
exactly.
guaranteed money.
So
I'm sorry.
The cool thing to me is that you still have your Patreon account.
Yeah.
You work at Patreon. You own Patreon. It's a whole thing. There's now 56 employees, something like that. Mm-hmm. Do many people have Patreon accounts themselves?
Yes, a lot of them do. Cole, you guys know Cole, who runs sales. He actually has a webcomic that he produces. Yes, he does.
Why does he tell us this?
So it's about hockky. So like, if you're not a hockey fan, you wouldn't understand. But it's really funny, and he gets a great response from the community. Then we have Christine has her own Patreon page. She has the most wonderful voice. Oh my fuck, she sounds just like it's like just the most melting singing ever, and she's just wonderful. She started a Patreon page. She's making a couple $100 a month.
What's her Patreon page?
Have you looked for Christine? Yeah. No, CH.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, she's wonderful.
My girlfriend, is one of them K's.
Right.
This one, Donaldson?
Yeah, that's her.
Let's see what we got over here.
Yep. She's also like an amazing skier and has these GoPro videos of her like shredding down like triple black diamonds and like she's amazing. Anyway, she has a Patreon page. A lot of the folks here, I'd say half the team plays music. One of our team events.
This is Sail Away.
Let's listen.
By Christine Donaldson.
There you go. You were right. All those sounds you made are exactly what this is.
Yeah.
She works here. How lucky are we? It's amazing.
Damn, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my question is, and I've always wondered this about you guys since we kind of got involved, is, and I know you're a private company, I'm not asking for any specifics or whatever, but like, is the company on the, because you had multiple rounds of funding and stuff, is the company on its way to being quite profitable and quite successful in the long term? Because like I've asked myself in the past, like, how can you guys charge so little?
Yeah.
Like 5% plus credit card transactions takes about 9.5%.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys survive on that? Because I feel like you were going to eventually need to charge more, but is that an improper kind of assumption, or are you guys like fine at this 5% level? It's fascinating to me.
That's an amazing question, and yes, so I didn't understand any of this before coming here and talking with our investors and talking with other founders and teams about how to build companies and what investors are looking for in companies. Investors don't invest in companies unless they think they're going to be multi-billion-dollar companies. So the answer to your question is like, yes, our investors expect Patreon to be a multi-billion-dollar company. That's what they want. That's what we're all fighting for. The weird thing, and this is God, I'll never be able to convey this to people or to you guys. I came into this from the point of view of an artist, only looking at tech press and news as an artist. I came into this having so much skepticism around venture capital and around corporate infrastructure and that whole system. And my eyes have been opened. Like our investors, the people who put money into Patreon, yes, they want it to be a multi-billion-dollar company, but they care about impact. Like they want to do it the right way. Like our lead investor who invests in our Series A, if you walk into his house, there's commissions from artists all around the world. Sculpture, photography, painting. Like he's on the board of SF MoMA. This guy cares about putting art in the world. That's really what he wants. And the best way to do that is to become a big ass, profitable, amazing company, because like economic incentives, really nothing trumps economic incentives. That's like a really great way to make lots of impact is when you align mission with dollars. And like a lot of what we try to do here is do that, like align mission with value. And so yes, like we're on our way. We have a shit ton of work to do. It is hard, especially when our margin is so low. It's hard to like become a profitable entity, but we have to, and we're on our way. I mean, we're growing really fucking fast. We're signing up a ton of creators. We're signing up a ton of patrons. We're sending more and more money every month to creators. We have to be if we're going to be on that trajectory. It just takes a lot of work to constantly find new categories and verticals to break into, right? To constantly up the product to make sure that we're serving creators in the ways that we need to. If you look at YouTube in 2006 and you look at YouTube today, the product it's a different product.
Yeah,
it's like a different thing. I mean, you guys remember what YouTube looked like in 2006. that feeling that you have is what it should feel like to go on Patreon when we're in 2025. In 2025, when you look back at Patreon today, you should go, oh shit, how did we make that work? That's what you should feel like. And that's what we're doing over the next 10 years.
How many creators do you have now that are getting paid every month?
So we don't release that. What I can tell you is that I think the last number that we released was over 18,000.
Holy shit.
Over 18,000 creators making money in over 100 countries. We send money to over 100 countries around the world. We have some creators making like $500,000 a year or more. So like there's people who are like you guys building companies now, and the financing mechanism is patronage. I'm so fucking excited about that. So financing.
Yeah, we like it. We like it.
It's just it gets me out of fucking bed in the morning to know that people are financing small business media companies through patronage. Like I just think that's awesome.
So that gets you out of bed now. I mean, when did you notice the transition of it wasn't music anymore? Or it wasn't, your band. Not that you've given up on music or anything like that, but I mean, clearly the way you talk about this is a full-time job.
Yeah, it's full-time. It has not been full-time for the last 3 years. So the official switch for me was about 2 months ago when I started taking a salary as an employee at Patreon. Until then, I wasn't taking a salary as a person who worked here. I was just making my living using the product through my own videos.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it was great because my own ass was on the line. Like if we paid creators late, I fucking get paid late. Like if the product breaks and you can't get new pledges, my product breaks and I can't get new pledges.
Sure.
If our email system breaks, my emails break. Like it was important and I think helpful. Now there are creators way more successful like you guys than me. We don't need to prove that the product works anymore. You guys are proving that the product works. We don't need, it's not as useful for me to be spending time as a creator on Patreon. It is still useful, and so I still am a creator on Patreon, but the official switch I think came when we actually flicked on the salary switch for me, because I stopped making videos 6-7 months ago, and I don't have that income anymore, and
sure.
I'm trying to live in San Francisco.
Not easy.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
So is that something hard for you? I mean, as a guy who, the music's been your whole life, you haven't had a job.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Like coping with change in identity and shit. Sorry, this is like getting kind of deep. I don't know.
That's what the show does sometimes.
Really?
Yeah,
we go
big
there.
time.
Yeah, like fucking I've always identified as an artist. Like I spent my 20s saying like fuck the man, and like I'll never, like I noticed that people when they hit 30 they transition from being an artist to helping other artists be artists, and I swore that I would never become that person. And now here I am not making music videos, helping artists be artists.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to stop forever.
No.
Right? I mean, that's the thing. Like
Right.
passion is passion, and if that can translate over to something else, then let it, right?
Yeah.
Why not? You kind of got to, sometimes you have to go with the flow as far as that's concerned.
So that's the thing, is when I look at my life now and what I want, and like when I was going back to my studio to make music videos, I'd be in my studio and my brain would be at the office here. I'd be at the studio, my heart would be hanging with the team, thinking about how to be a better manager, thinking about recruiting people, and I couldn't fucking write songs anymore. I felt like I was more used to the world elsewhere, and I was here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because I imagine when you make music, I've never been very musically inclined aside from like 8 years of marching band. What up?
He was the drum major.
I was the drum major for 3 years, co-drum major for the first year, then drum major proper for 2 years.
What does that mean? Drum major.
Get up and show some of the moves.
It's not the bell person. Kevin thinks I'm the triangle player. There is a triangle player, but not in a marching band. Some marching bands might have triangle, but I don't think so. No, the drum major is just the conductor of the band. I don't know why they call him the drum major.
That's badass.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a leadership role for which I was ill-suited. But I think the point was, if your goal is to create art to sort of evoke emotion or change the world, then what better way to do that than what you're doing right now? You are literally changing the world.
There he
That was
is.
me as drum major.
That's him as the drum major.
You are a
Look at that
good-looking
hairline.
drum major.
I just want to point that out. Whenever I say I'm losing my hair, look at what it used to look like.
That's Widow's Peak.
Kevin probably should insert it there.
It was
I'll send you a
beautiful.
link.
You got
Kevin
a nice
has the
W
link.
there.
Thank
It's an
you.
upside down W.
Thank you. You look like Eddie Munster.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if you remember the Munsters.
Beautiful.
But I mean, literally, like there are very few products that I can think of. There's a lot of we live in the tech hub of the world right now, and there's a lot of products out there that make a lot of money, but I don't really know what the fuck they do, and I really don't know. Let's be honest, if any of them are going to be around 5 months from now, let alone 5 years from now. But I can honestly say that whatever form Patreon will take will still be around to fund artists, probably. I have to imagine for a really long time in some way, just like YouTube, because it is a groundbreaking piece of technology. It is something that really, really can move the needle, for lack of a better real person term.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. It's been awesome, like Greg said, to sort of mirror that sentiment. Like when I came here at first, you guys were still hanging pictures, and now there's so many people here doing so many cool things, and everyone seems happy. That's the weird thing to me.
Exactly.
That's what I want to know. Like, what are you feeding them to keep them happy? Because Kevin is miserable.
Yeah.
And he only had one person working for us, and he hates us.
No, that's what I always talk about with the story, especially people who are like, oh, I'm finally met with some of the Patreon guys. I'm like, what do you think? Like, they're all really nice. I'm like, I know, right? Like, I thought when we first met them, I was always, when we were here getting walked around with Tyler, I was like, when's the other shoe gonna drop? When are you guys gonna be slimy and want to take all the money and do this? And it never and even you, I was like, well, you're in charge. I'm sure you're a douchebag and you're awesome too. And I'm like, God damn it. Everyone here is fantastic and amazing, and they're all cool and hip, and you get your food brought in, and everybody's like, oh, how can I help you? Here's my cell phone. I'm like, you're in charge of this division. Why are you asking me to text you on Sundays?
Yeah, it's pretty outrageous.
for sure.
You do.
The one thing that I respect about Patreon so much, because I remember when we were talking about leaving IGN, so in 2014 or whatever, in summer, we really started to marinate on like, can we leave and how would it look and what would we do? And I remember we kicked around the idea of like a Kickstarter or like one of these kind of more traditional crowdfunding things, which I was super uncomfortable with. I don't believe in Kickstarter because it's like there's no accountability. There's no it's like a lump sum payment. People run away with this money. You don't reach expectations. People are disappointed. What I loved about Patreon is it's basically, we just treat it like a subscription. And if you don't like the podcast or you don't like what you're getting, you can get out. And that makes me feel good because I'm like, well, you're not disappointed. You didn't wait a year, 18 months or 2 years for us to deliver on something that you weren't disappointed in. You knew right away it wasn't for you. And I love that cycle. So
It's a shorter feedback cycle.
yeah, it's perfect. And what we found is that, we were nervous. I mean, but we're well beyond our metric for even high success. I mean, Patreon has allowed us to do, I assume we're one of the biggest creators on Patreon. I don't know if that's true or not.
I just say we are.
You are.
By far, and no one's ever going to stop us.
I was saying in interviews, without us, Patreon would fold. Yeah. Like, there's no way they would keep going.
We're the 1%.
With the $3,000 they make a month off of us.
Jokes aside on that though, like have you seen, because of us, I think the education process is the most important thing about Patreon, and understanding the difference between something like Kickstarter and Patreon, and just what is Patreon and is it safe and this and that. Like I feel like the more creators doing stuff, the more people know about it, and it kind of just like goes from there. Have we done anything to educate the people that you've seen kind of grow Patreon?
Yeah. So actually we did a study the other day. Pages like yours drive lots of other creators to sign up for Patreon.
Interesting.
In fact, if you look at how Patreon grows because creators launch. And then a creator launches, and a certain percentage of their fans are creators themselves.
Gotcha.
They see that launch. They land on a page that says $25,000 per month, and they go, holy shit, I could do that. And then they launch, and then that causes more creators to launch. And you get that kind of network effect, right?
Yeah.
That virality of creators launching causes more creators to launch. So yes, like the way you guys do this show and stream to fans, like I guarantee you there are creators in the audience right now watching the show, hearing about Patreon and you guys making $25,000 a month, going, fuck, I should do that. And even if it's only $2,000 a month, that would allow me to work 10 hours less at Starbucks or whatever, right?
Exactly.
And then that's that cycle that just propagates.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, even from us, we've seen that, like with Greg's girlfriend Steimer and with my friend Alfredo, like both of them have launched Patreons that are super successful. Like they're just allowing them to just keep doing what they're doing and all that stuff. And it's cool. Like it's cool that then now our audience understands that. So when they launch it, it's just like, oh, Patreon, I already have one. And I love seeing whenever we click on when we do our like thank you videos or whatever, you click on the users and it's like also a patron of, and then it's comedy button and
Christine
Steimer
and Alfredo.
It's like
So-
such a tight knit thing.
Now, actually, when a creator launches on Patreon, the community is big enough now on Patreon. When a creator launches, 40% of their patrons that become patrons of them are already patrons on Patreon.
Yeah.
That's
like
cool.
you almost
really
double
cool.
your patronage by coming to Patreon and having people like who already have accounts and are already patrons of other creators become patrons of you.
That's the, I think the biggest barrier to entry, right, is like, I'd have to sign up for this other service and da-da-da. So once you're signed up, it becomes so easy to actually shop around, or like, I'll go in and I'll search for stuff, right? There was a comic artist I was following for a while that totally just ran into her art, like searching for comic art. I was like, oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I'll be here. I'll back you for this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That happens to me all the time. I find new creators that I didn't know, like we're on Patreon, or some creator who every once in a while I'll click through on my home feed, recommended creators, and see some new creator that I just make something that's just fucking beautiful, like some crazy portrayal of a hippopotamus nightmare. I don't know. There's some crazy
Fantasia.
artwork on, like just weird dark fantasy art. There's
a lot of it's hanging in your bathroom.
Actually, it's because we reach out to those creators when we see their stuff and we like them. We say, hey, can we commission a piece from you for the walls here? And they're super excited about that. And so we get this awesome artwork.
Well, that's what I've always loved about this place. When you come here, the site and the business is built on being a community. And when you come here, you guys asked us early on if we could contribute something for the walls, and we brought in, the Panda Musk poster that we sell, the Ghostbusters 2 one.
Oh,
and that's up. But I mean, you walk around and you see everyone's art, and then you have the whole picture wallpaper where we've signed. We still need to fill in our thing. We'll do that tomorrow.
Great.
But there's all these things up of like, Jared Leto was here, and I saw Max and Brian were here one day, and this, that, and the other. And there's a Babs photo or a drawing from last year on our stream or whatever. It's like, this is rad. You feel like it's a business that isn't so much a business as it is a community in a weird way.
Yeah. Man, it's so funny. I was just at this great conference, and the people at this conference were so good at, like, everyone knew your name. They sat you next to, there's arranged seating every night. They sat you next to people that you would learn from. Like, I sat next to this awesome guy who was running this media conglomerate out of Brazil, and he was like working on licensing and all these things that I would probably have to know about like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And like I learned so much, but like that was deliberate, right? This organization that runs the conference, their product, if you will, is like relationships, is community, really.
Sure.
It's community, and it's almost like what they get out of that is incidental. It's like the relationships lead to transactions. It's not like transactions lead to relationships. And thinking of it like that just kind of changes everything. So yeah, I mean, we say here at Patreon, like, we are a creator first company. That's what we do. We help creators. And like every metric that we have that we optimize around is geared toward creators. So we don't track our revenue. We track money sent to creators. And we set up a business model where those things are proportional. So the more money we send to creators, the more money Patreon makes. But it means that everyone in the company and all of our investors and us, we can just focus on sending more money to creators.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's nuts.
I'm a big fan.
Now, my one thing before we jump to your real topic, because we're talking about you, and it's been Patreon heavy.
Yeah.
Were you always, when you were out and making this music on your own, being a rock star and stuff, were you always with the girlfriend? Was it always the band? Or were you ever on your own? Because it seems like if you're supposed to be a rock star, you're supposed to be single and have crazy ass stories. But if you're always tied to this girlfriend.
Oh, okay. So then in that sense, I've never been a rock star. Oh. Now, so Natalie and I have been dating for 10 years. We just got engaged a couple months ago.
Hey! Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm one of those weird, I don't know. I'm definitely not a rock star. Like, I prefer to be alone. I hate parties. I never went to parties in college.
Have you
I
met
don't
Colin?
like
You should
drinking.
talk to Colin.
Yeah, I'd rather be at home by myself. I think I should just wear that t-shirt like every day.
No, but it's good. That's a good way to be. It's just interesting because you know what I mean. You're one of these guys. You're in it for the music.
Yeah, I mean I whatever. I know it's fucking cliche.
You're
or
in a
whatever
safe
to say,
place.
but,
Don't
but
worry.
I am. I love music. I love harmony and chords. I nerd out on audio engineering and filters and EQ and compression. I remember when I was learning how to make electronic music, I read manuals. I spent 12 hours a day in my studio by myself for 2 years, like reading manuals on Native Instruments Massive, figuring out how to make talking bass sounds. Like, I just fucking love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
don't be
great.
ashamed of that. No one's gonna be mean about that.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool about Patreon too. Is your shit can be weird. It doesn't need to be beautiful art or anything.
Yeah.
Like, you can do anything you want and get paid. I don't know. Is there any like things you can't do?
There are a couple things you can't
Snuff
do.
films.
Yeah. What can't you do?
You cannot do. You can't do sexual favors.
Oh, okay.
You can't get paid for sexual favors.
Greg, we
But
gotta
can you
talk.
get paid? Can you do porn?
Our
Like, could porn
$500
stars-
tier.
Yeah, we gotta get that off. Sorry.
No, there's
Not that
no
way.
porn.
No porn.
But we're a fucking arts company. Like we have to have a liberal set of community guidelines. You got to be able to have nudity in your art. Like some of the greatest art in the world is naked bodies. Like we're not going to say that's not okay, but no porn.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
okay.
and
there's
we-
a line. There has to be a line.
We have a 20-page document that details what exactly that line means. But
Now,
yeah,
if
there's-
you ever need someone to step in and look at something until that you know whether or not it's porn, I will gladly lend my talents for that. I
Quick-
feel like
Pro
I have
bono.
a pretty good base of knowledge for that
quick
subject.
story about that because I just have to.
Yes, please.
So there are teams at companies that do this. They enforce community guidelines, and sometimes the teams are called porn police. Sometimes the teams are called other things. Whatever it is.
Writing
Okay.
that down. I'm writing
Now,
it down because
hang
there
on
has
a
to be a
second.
porn police something.
That's
in
a
my life.
shirt.
That's a great shirt.
Hang on a second. So some of the shit, I bet, it sounds fun. Some of the shit is so dark that it changes those people's lives forever.
Really?
Like the shit that is on the corners of the dark internet can get so personally exhaustive and demoralizing and makes you lose your faith in humans that like it changes these people's lives. The guy who helped us sculpt this document that's 20 pages helped Facebook set up their community trust and safety policies, blah, blah, blah. As a fucking world expert, built the teams. They take down 2 million pages a week on Facebook. He taught a machine how to recognize child pornography and like algorithmically, just like dark shit. He fucking has to see like a therapist like regularly because it's so like terrifying. The 2 months that it took us to build this document of what you cannot do on Patreon was like some of the darkest 2 months of my life.
Man, you made porn police not fun.
I know. It was up in
no. Still fun the way I'm thinking
Yeah,
about it.
I mean, it could be cool.
Like the way I'm thinking about it is the opposite, where they actually are on porn shoots, and if you're not doing it right, they're like, "Stop! Let me show you the right way to use that baton."
Sorry, officer.
They dance like that.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
figured as much that's what's happening. I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.